on. We're live, gentlemen, and I'm going to make something disappear for just a second until we're ready.
All right, then. Hello, everybody. Welcome back again. This is Ninja Spence speaking, and welcome to Bonus Roundtable. And then tonight's episode, we are going to be talking about world building. And who do I have with me on the virtual table tonight?
Yo, it's a Miro.
Resident reprobate Nox.
All righty then. So today that we are just talking about world building. That Knox had basically said that he needed some help about world building, and then that we can just knock out, and then that we can just knock out two birds with one stone and talk about world building while also helping out. So it's just going to be just open form and such. So I am going to start. I am going to like let Knox kick us off with it.
So we need a topic, and I'm a lazy dungeon master. So I have enlisted slave labor in order to assist me in doing DM work for my world.
We're being paid
Uh,
in your silky smooth dulcimer tones.
I mean, this is the thing. Uh, I mean, y'all have been here before. This is Carcass. This is the world. This is the world of the wheel, and pretty much I have run I've run a lot of games, and in a lot of different settings, D&D, from just kind of half-ass made-up worlds to campaigns to like book campaigns, actual canned campaigns, and I've looked at, as most of us have. I've looked through and had come up with a lot of and found a lot of inspiration for what I do. From everything from the Major Spoilers podcast, Critical Hit show, which is a live play D&D podcast, which I believe I believe they're still using fourth edition, just simply because it's been going for like 10 years now. No, I mean longer than that. We're closer to 15 years. Uh, and it's just what they started with, because they started before fifth edition, and they just kept going. To to obviously Critical Role and Matt Mercer, as well as for what's most important for this one is Matthew Colville of MCDM Productions. I have every game that Matt Colville has run. And I realized this later, and this is the same thing with Matt Mercer. Exandria for Critical Role is literally the first campaign setting that Mercer ever ran in. And Colville has done the same thing. Every game that he plays takes place in just a different part of this world that they're playing in, their world. And I figured that's a really good idea. I'm gonna do what every good DM does. I'm gonna steal it. Um, and everything that happens in my games, regardless of even D&D stuff, for unless it is a small single time use one shot or small campaign, everything that is even slightly original is going to happen in this world, period.
I do the same thing with Arax. That's
And
our Monday night games.
and ultimately it just makes sense. Everything that you do will come to pass and give you more things that to fill your world.
Right,
Uh,
and then that. Oh, go on.
oh no, that and so the map software that you see on screen is Asgar's fantasy map generator. I just literally just kept generating new world until I found one that I kind of liked with a decent layout. This is one continent, and that's all I'm gonna need for now. And eventually, if I do something else later, I can do it. I can generate another continent I ultimately plan on getting this map, at least in sections, printed out physically in a very large format so that you can see the the towns and things at least at about this scale.
Right,
And
right.
You're gonna have
literally,
you're literally gonna have the crazy like conspiracy theory wall marking out everything on some type of giant cork board with this, aren't you?
well, absolutely. um and that's ultimately the that's ultimately what I'm gonna, because I have troubles justifying sitting down at my computer and working on D&D stuff for me. I have problems justifying that. There are other things that I can do, um, that are either A, less mentally taxing, or B, other things that, well, I should probably do this instead. But I get ideas randomly. So what I ultimately I plan on getting this printed out on foam core.
Mm-hmm.
That way if I have an idea, I write it down on an index card and I pin it onto the board where it happens.
That's
That
a good
way
idea.
the lore is always growing. Um
No, I won't
the
lie. I use Roll20 for that because like it's the reason I haven't deleted a bunch of the old games
mhm,
because
the notes and everything else.
notes and stuff. But I mean, I'll be honest. There's a lot of stuff I don't write down, and if it with Arax, y'all been in Lothria, the Archipelago. There's been one or two games in Egeth that weren't streamed, and then the Elves, and Iceheart. So there's lore that's been built for there, but the big thing is like I leave a lot of those regions empty. Like I told you, I think a while back on a stream, Bozoth. Bozoth is ruled by the Craft King. The only thing I know about Bozoth at this point is that it is a law that everybody must have a trade. So if your character comes from there, I'm going to give you a free tool proficiency
Mhm.
because you literally, to exist in this meritocracy style craft kingdom or trade kingdom, you have to physically be able to do a trade. Where Avi's from, you have written so much of that yourself. Because at this point, I now might have roaming hordes of stone golems that just get adopted by old ladies.
Well, it's just the one, and at some point, me and you are going to have to sit down, and I'm going to have to basically just gush out, probably in a recording, just to make things easy for note taking on the massive amounts of shit that I have in my head for Avi and his family and all of the things that he makes references to. Which the one thing about the one thing you have to realize about Avi is that it doesn't matter how ridiculous it sounds. Avi is always telling the truth.
And this is fun for me.
Um,
But
for the biggest example of this is Uncle Terry. Uncle Terry, Uncle Terrence is a rock, and that is all that Avi will ever say about it. The only other possible thing that'll pop off is the fact that Avi knows primordial. And ultimately, what it boils down to is Terrence is Terrence 90% of the time is sleeping somewheres around where Avi's grandmother lives. Terrence is a is a Earth primordial, and for no one knows how, no one knows why, it owes a life debt to Avi's grandfather and has not moved and has only rarely woken up since his grandfather died. But it's still there, and it still will interact with with a handful of members of the family. This is a large family, and Terrence only interacts with Avi and maybe two of his cousins.
Interesting. I mean that I know that then that's very deep family lore, and I do think that that is well seated within like your worlds and stuff. I know for my personal world, Villarara, that there is always going to be a recurring character, and that is that is benevolent Serpent Wind. That our humble yet proprietor of basically of that the thousands of guilds that basically had chosen, which then in fact that it's still some it is actually some lore and stuff that actually that Miro hasn't had basically had a chance to discover with her yet, which that we need to pick that game back up soon. But I, for one, I use a program called Ink Carnate whenever that I develop maps and stuff. That I've been a fan of them for years. I subscribe to them for like I think it's like $5 a month, but it's fine. But more so, Knox. Do you have a character that players of your game will always run into, no matter what timeline or anything like that, or a family name?
Avi,
Avi Zivrat.
Avi the Red. He is. He has. Avi is the first NPC that I ever built. In that game, and actually, Avi is in Karsus. Where did I put it? It is.
My wife just sneezed so hard that I think she cursed.
That is a thing. Uh,
That's the
She
thing.
just said she hurt herself.
I want to say it's over here somewheres. I can't
Kingdom and
find it.
Kidzo.
And that's the only downside to this to this software is
Remembering where you put shit.
that's the second one. The first one is look at all of these names.
Oh, that's a lot of editing.
This is I won't
Yeah.
lie, I've played with this program once. And if I could upload what I have already crafted for Arax into this, I would use it because it would help me out with a ton of the city names and like random hamlet names.
Yeah.
But
I
but
mhm.
I was going to say before we really get deep into anything, uh, I feel like we need to bring up why and like different techniques to help with building lore that would
Okay.
work.
Ham.
Hey,
Ham. Is it a
it that
is it just a village of Ham? I got
I've no,
OBS up over the
oh
map.
no, that is legitimate. It's legitimate.
There it
yeah,
is.
This
There's
area.
Ham.
it says ham.
There we
It's
go.
The
it's a capital city.
nice.
So that is the capital city of this region.
And you do bring
Nice.
up a good point, Miro, about basically different techniques and stuff. And in that, I go on.
I was gonna say, uh, with building lore, you have if you're going to create your own world, you have you have to create lore. There has to be something there initially. If it's something as simple as you start out in a city state and then you come up with the history of that city. I mean, like to use the first one that the stream that or not even stream but the game that started TBA before we streamed was Delve into the Deeps, and it was going to be a dungeon crawl slog running 3.5 to help us kill time on a Monday. It's how we met Claire because she was Cannon's co-worker, and I created the continent of Lothria on the world of Arax. And I created a massive. Originally, it was the only continent. It was a Pangea thing, and it was a mostly sun-baked desert with coastal mountain ranges that kept the rain out, because it was like, I want to make something where, like, why would everybody live underground? Why would everybody dig deep and start going for ore? And it turns, I was like, well, Lothria is rich in minerals. So, of course, we're going to have a ton of dwarves and gnomes because that's their jam. But I created the city of Garfin. And Garfin came from a random name generator. And so it's a caravan town. Okay, so now we got those vibes. You have 8, I think it was 8 dwarven taigs that do business, that live somewhere within like a mile and a half underneath the city. And the city exists to literally sell stuff. Like, it is, they bring it to the surface so they can then send it and sell it to the coastal regions. And then I let the party start developing more of the lore, because Tarl's character came from the south, or sorry, not Tarl, but there was Hiram came from the Frostborn Tig over in the Red Republic. Like, he was like, and he doesn't give me anything about the Red Republic. He just tells me about the Frostborn Tig. They are a traditional dwarven craftsman Tig. They do iron and mithril. They are weapons and armor smiths. They very much are the traditional old school dwarves. I was like, cool. Now I got some information over in the Red Republic that is going to be very much that they are practical and pragmatic. They gained it from their allies, or the Tig within their territory. And then Kyle's character, oh god, Tarek comes from the south east, over from an area where it's like mostly a dead forest, and his father was this great priest, this great cleric. And so, since his dad pissed off an evil goddess, she snatched up, Tarek to be her priest. And they had like the worst relation. It was the worst toxic work relationship ever. So I was like, I like this. So I now have to make his dad like the goodliest dwarf. And like the town he's from, like, super loves him. And Tarek is so done with this shit. Archibinks, Claire's character came from Bilbot Kern, which I had on a map, and she said, it's a huge city. And I was like, fine, Bilbot Kern, the 100-mile long city, the clockwork city. It is mostly gnomes, and they're tinkering. And so the party came together like that. And there was only one other place that I created, and that was Utar, the city that has always been. And I wanted to make the bougiest dwarven above ground city ever. Like, it is mostly dwarves. It's a massive Tig. It extends underneath over an aquifer. But it is literally the city that's never been conquered. And that's where my lore stopped at the very beginning of that game. And I allowed the party to add so much more, and I developed it as they went. I didn't do it whole cloth at the beginning, and you just really can't.
No. I mean, well,
no, you really can't.
You can. It's just going to take you 14 and a half years before you're ready for session 0.
So at this point, half the time of the last book of Game of Thrones is taken.
Pretty much.
Right. I mean,
and he already had 5 books worth of, and he's already got 5 books worth of lore to draw on.
Right. And then that, I know for my process, it basically, whenever I first built Villarara, I was basically still the new guy at my new job that I started. Oh yes, and then before that I get too deep into the weeds, somebody in the Twitch chat asked that, like, are that the folks in Ham are called Hammonians or Hamites or Hamlins?
I would say go with Hammonians, because that makes me think of JoJo.
Yeah,
they know
all of those.
They know the Hamon.
Okay, so if you think TBA is bad for sidetracking and chicanery, you have no idea. My group is 5 times worse. That city will not be named Ham. I have currently So to kind of jump into a little bit of the stuff that I have right now. So this whole big area that's currently centered on the screen.
The
The
Bribarian.
the Barbarian Empire and the principalities and provinces around it. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4,
Okay, you
5,
need to
6.
change the Grand Duchy of Timos to the Grand Duchy of Timothy.
Okay, that is what I'm talking about. Um, so so everything from the Candesta frontier west was all the Barbarian Empire. The emperor died, and in his will, he decreed that his wife would continue to lead the empire, but six but the 6 provinces surrounding the center of the empire would be given to his 6 children to do with as they pleased. Now they are still beholden to the empire, but they are autonomous nations essentially, and that's where then some of them are some of them are very are some of them are really good and see their people as their reason for leading. I like in the Thalia Protectorate. She named Thalia named her country the Thalia Protectorate because she sees it as her duty to protect her citizens. The Principality of Vorstag sees his people as a resource. These are mine, and they're going to do what I want them to do. He rules it with an iron hand. Meanwhile, Carcosa, the youngest, ended up getting because they got this all through drawing lots, and especially there's a few of them that believe that he cheated to get the peninsula. There may or may not be that may or may not be true. There may or may not be repercussions associated with that. So I've got all of this. I've got a base down lower. Oh, and just so that you too know this, this is Farloft. This is where what happened last year's Extra Life happened.
Oh wow.
I need to send you more messages for Sog to just keep messing with people with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do the same with Wisp because I feel like that. I feel like that he was kind of like that. Like that. I want to say that he may have been like Ice T's character from like Law and Order mixed in with just a bit of Debo.
Sog was can I make a sardonic death priest that is undead?
Yeah. And the current leader of my home squad, my boy Daryl, his wizard Crux is like routinely face palms because I still have a list of all the stuff that you sent me that Sog sent, and I will in the middle of a game while they are deciding to do something, I will literally text Daryl one of Sog's messages.
We fought a bear. We killed it. We burned
My
down
favorite.
we burned down the village. Those traitors deserved it.
I mean,
So
right?
the so so aside from that, the only other thing that I have information on is over here in the Grim Marches. The entire move this over here. So this entire border around the Grim Marches is a wall. It
Mm-hmm.
is a like 75 to 100-foot wall that surrounds the entire province. The it, it, the Abian Empire and the Kingdom of Kendozo believe their ancestors built that wall to protect to protect the outside world from the horrors that lie within. Like you pass the wall and it is perpetually night. Like it like twilight to midnight. That is all you get. So the ruling class in the Grim Marches are vampires, and the other group, my home group, met a group of 4 of them. Well, it's a group of 4 of them. They have met 2 of them.
Is this Bat Damon?
Yeah, this isn't. This is Grismal. The 2 that they have met is hang on. Is Grismal, and I don't have him here. Where's the damn characters? Okay. I got him somewhere. It's Grismal and Dormus. I
will only acknowledge them if you
I'm getting there.
If you call them
I'm getting there
by their Christian names here, sir.
I mean, so Grismal is just this small live vampire with kind of like Vegeta hair that has functioning bat wings. Dormus is a very large, tall, imposing. Picture of vampiric Michael Clark Duncan and all the vampires have the same skin tone. It is basically a chalk white with purple shadowing. But picture that skin tone on Michael Clark Duncan, and that's what Dormus looks like. So both of them got polymorphed into animals. Grismal got transformed into a hammerhead bat, and Dormus got transformed into a rat. Well, my idiots start calling the hammerhead bat Bat Damon. He gets the cleric. The cleric does a mass healing word, and it short circuits basically short circuits the polymorph for about a minute, and he transforms back into himself, and then transforms back into the bat. They fix him; he is now back to normal, and introduces himself as Grismal. And the entire party go, cool, so Bat Damon, and just completely no sell the fact that he just told them his name. That's my idiot players. And then they met Dormus, and for a bright idea, I turned the large vampire named Dormus into a rat.
Dormouse.
So he henceforth became Dormouse. So that's where. That's that. So
it's why I came up with joke names for most of the characters y'all meet, man, because I know y'all are gonna do shit like that.
I mean, that's kind of like a ring it back in a little bit. I mean, yeah, that my players also give me a hard time and stuff too. Whenever then I would say like some names, like that, like literally that I had like one player up at the shop game that that he was basically being a paranoid schizo right before meeting the big bad of just at my game. Then I basically felt he was being an active threat. So I basically made a joke character based off of the late '90s movie Scream. Basically, the character Doofy. And then he had this weird human that was like Terminator speed. All of this just following him around and stuff. But but Doofy was basically as dumb as a sack of bricks. Like the character was stupid, and then that I felt like then that character still to this day that player acts like is that guard Doofy around, and then I'm like, I don't know, he may be on duty or something. But to kind of like horn that kind of like to bring it back into like Miro's point, as far as in like what tools and resources can we use that I for one like to use Art Breeder. For anyone that y'all don't know, Art Breeder is basically it is like an AI generated thing that you can use for portraits, landmarks, stuff like that. And then it is all AI generated art. So I think for Nox's world, that'll kind of help just kind of get that idea of like what you want. Say, for example, that you want a White Castle in the middle of a swamp that is on fire. It can generate that.
Nice.
Hmm.
Oh, I got to ask this because earlier we mentioned characters that the party will always meet. Nox, are you going to be borrowing Mixel?
I may.
Spence, have you had the pleasure of Mixel?
Yeah, that's a
No,
word.
I don't recall. Explain this Mixel.
Okay, there's Mixel the Marvelous, distant cousin of Nilvac the Magnificent, because John and I got too much of a kick out of that. Mixel is a ancient gnomish wizard or artificer that exists in a never-ending sphere of protection, basically a magical hamster ball. Because if it was ever to rupture, he would immediately age and die because he's the oldest thing on Arax still kicking that's not a divine. Mixel makes marvelous magical goods that don't always work.
Mixel is Arax's wish.com.
Yes, that is actually one of the best descriptions I've heard of him. Mixel is like the first time I introduced a Mixel item was Mixel's dagger. And there is a chance when you stab someone with the dagger, it would deal an additional d4 of fire, or an additional d4 of thunder, or an additional d4 of necrotic, or that the dagger would it would heal them instead of hurting them. And it was you rolled a d4 when you stabbed to see what was going to be the additional thing that happened. And then there was Mixel's marvelous map that Kyle Moosekyle's character got that would tell you where something mostly was. A lot of times it would mostly tell you where it's not. There's also the marvelous mix-up game by Mixel, which is my basically gachapon that has popped up in a couple locations, one of which resulted in Avi getting the wand of streaking, and then what was supposed to be a 2-minute interval in the game became a 35-minute chase throughout the whole city that resulted in Avi basically being the greased up deaf guy from Family Guy running through a town full of pirates, causing weird shit to happen wherever he went. So Mixel is one of those things when I drop him into anything, people who have played my game are very wary of Mixel. Let's see, another NPC I love is the amazingly unlucky Captain Laser, a Gith Yankee that is partially based off of Shatner, and it is him trying to sell off his goods and wares from his multiple adventures just so he can actually afford pizza and pay the bills. It is like, if something bad's going to happen to an NPC, the amazingly unlucky Captain Laser will be the one to get it. He has been a fun one to bring back for Junk Shop Operation.
Nice. Nice.
And then randomly, you might be able to get a henchman by the name of Aldrich Tarbuckle. Because I love that character. He is about the only player character I will ever bring back as an NPC. Because every time I've brought him in as an NPC for people to have and use, they shit all over him and use him to effectiveness. Like,
Yeah.
y'all are so terrible to Aldrich.
I mean that. Go on, Knock.
I mean, you can't tell me he doesn't deserve it.
Okay, in Lost Seas, actually, I don't think he does. Because all the bad shit he's been blamed for was either Avi or Kogo.
Or Drogob.
Like, literally, the only thing I think that Aldrich did that was wrong was hit a button in the Goonies dungeon y'all went through and caused part of the floor to fall. That is, I think, literally the only bad thing he did.
Well,
Interesting. Okay, so Nox, are you familiar with a little game that came out called Cult of the Lamb?
I am tangentially aware that that exists.
Okay, well, I took the liberty of creating that they had a dice mini game inside of this game that I think that will fit great up in your world and also up in the D&D world thing that they call this dice game called Knucklebones. And then I will post that I will basically post that the PDF and stuff that I had made for it. But what it is essentially is basically a fast-paced dice game that basically requires your players to only have 9d6 and basically a 3x3 grid, and then that the person with the highest score wins. But that the reason that I am bringing this up is because in that I had took inspiration from this, and in that I had created that this whole kind of like backstory about like this lamb just satyr that actually lives up in my version of that the Underdark that is basically taking care of folks that are affected by like lycanthropy, and then that they also have that the god of blood, and then that the king of that the that the god of blood and king of all of that the Lycans called Yovel the Deceiver that is basically imbued into her body. And then I do think then that is actually pretty dope in that the way of like that you can just look at some video games and just take like a dumb mini game and make it into your game. Because Knucklebones is a pretty fun game that had translated well over to D&D.
Nice.
Now, before we delve into, because I think, Knox, you want us to actually help you develop some of
Right.
the lore for your world.
Yeah.
There is something that we're going to do when we get back to Holy Winds. And one game that I will recommend, because I heard it used on the Adventure Zone. I haven't seen too many other people do it in this sense, because it's a standalone game. It is a standalone game, and you consider if people survive or die at the end of it when the Kings of Winter show up. But it is called The Quiet Year. It is a cooperative world-building game connected to what happens after like a post-apocalyptic situation. And it's based off of card draws. There's discussion, there are projects, there are arguments, all of which that can occur while you're working on it. So, excuse me, the thing I like about it is what the Adventure Zone did with it is it allowed everybody to help build the world that they were about to play in. So it wasn't like, hey, I made this map and then like people picked points and added some info, which is one of the things I love. But the big thing is that it allows people to have a active part in developing the lore for the world, what's happening in the world, and they're more invested in it to where if beforehand you put all your time into building like everything around this one hamlet, and all of a sudden, and you made your character come from there because you built this, so now it's like I'm so invested in this, and then all of a sudden like the DM like, oh yeah, there's an army marching on it. That makes it way more important to players a lot of times. They can actually get them way more engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the reason I want us to do that when we get back to Holy Winds, because chaos is afoot for most of the regular population there. So
I knew I should have killed it. I knew I should have killed that son of a bitch when I had a chance.
Okay.
Yep. I love how I made literally one NPC that initially I was going to have be more of a hindrance than an actual issue. And then one comment from him as a dig made everybody hate him so much. I'm like, yeah, I got to make you important now.
Yeah.
I have to make you important now because you just pissed off 2 members of the party fully and pissed off 2 of the other members of the party just a little bit. Like, 2 of them are like, we'll murder you right here where you stand. The other 2 are like, we'll wait for you to leave the office or be in a dark alley. And then there is Peregrine. I'll kill you because they said we need to, but personally I haven't been paying attention to anything you said because I wanted to steal your liquor bottle.
Yeah.
So where did you want to start at?
See.
Do we want to go to the A-Bean Empire?
I'm thinking so.
Okay. Hold on. For my own, could we go down south? Could we go down south real quick? Go down south, over to the left a little bit, over back towards the principalities. Hold on, right there. Stop. Now zoom in. Enhance. Enhance. All right, I see. Zoom back out just a little bit. Dehance. Too much. Back out. Right there. Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No, it's just that's going to be a name you have to change.
Yeah.
Because I can only Ballians, ballers. Just you know what? You don't want to go over there. Why? Because it's ball.
Oh God, no! I'm just thinking about it now. Just ballers.
All of a sudden, it's also this pink fleshy thing down there, just hanging out too. So it's just like it's the scrote.
Yeah. Yeah. This
Oh.
guy.
I look. They're gonna do it if you don't change that name. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. My joke's already.
Let's go.
My joke was done. Unless this is where you want to go now.
I mean, this is. All right. So.
Ball.
You're gonna do edit label. Okay. Is this gonna give me a? Oh shit! I've got a random button. Hang on. Salzburg.
This is how world building is actually done by your DMs, people. This is what your DMs actually do.
Hold on. Yeah. Loss is pretty good.
Los.
I'm thinking Los.
Los, okay. Not Los. Los.
No, Los would have some type of accent aigu or something above it. Maybe.
Yeah, but you can still pronounce it Los.
Let's see.
Don't go down there. There's a bunch of losers.
Oh.
All right.
Boo.
All right. So that's not gonna be roadside here in a moment. All right. So.
All right. I will say the first thing, and this is just me, especially with names. Sometimes I would leave some of these, but I also like to use simpler names.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've been doing, is I've been taking like the. Hang on. I just realized they have a vocalizer.
So like it'll
Pulled bed.
Hang on.
Pulled bed.
Oh, pulled bed.
You just heard COVID. That's all I heard.
Pulled bed.
Pulled bed. All right, so that's not what this is.
Okay, look. The thing I see on it is there are double beer steins. I would have to go something just based on that logo.
Apparently, that shows that's the Proud Inn's, a big and famous roadside tavern. Delicious flame broiled hare with bright mead is served here.
Nice. I would just run base. This is just me. I would do something like something brow, like so it reference back to beer.
Let's see here. I'm pulling up my fantasy name generator, so that's what I always use all the time for names if I'm stuck. So let's see what we can come up with on this.
So, also,
Well, you could
just
go. You could do with like Opal Brow to use part of the original name,
huh.
and next thing
uh,
now they're the home of purple beer. Now,
Opal Bra.
what is the ethnic makeup of the country that we're currently in Ball? Well, Loss.
Well, I mean, I think that I haven't really been doing
Are
much
you
of.
are you
Ah,
ah oh it this is a Germanic place, so I mean this is you're not using the fantasy aspect of this, are you?
apparently not. All right, we're gonna put this back. Opal Bra. Overbrow.
Yeah, for bra.
Uh,
Just
da, da, da.
just
So,
do not make the mistake I made is when I created part of Cartha, which is where I've set like some out of off stream like Wild West esque themed games. I have a city that I went, oh, Dos Tetons, the two mountains. What did my friends do that I
yeah,
should
big kid.
that I should have known? Dos titties,
Yeah, those titties.
which technically that's what Dos Tetons means anyway. But
uh,
I had a village or a town settled between two mountains, and then it's just continuous giggles.
oh,
Where is
also,
go on?
real quick. See this guy right here?
The
Yeah.
the shell. Are you gonna change?
Uh,
You gonna change it?
you can't. This link is it still showing the map right now?
Mm-mm.
No, it is now
Okay,
showing
so we're showing it.
showing
So,
that you are showing the that the sigil up
yep.
close.
I
So,
really like Bozo the Ghost.
well, Asgar also gives you the option for to create heraldry.
This is where I would be busy for
Yeah,
way
it
too
has,
long.
and it has in fact been that situation for me. Let's see, and each city has its own.
Nice, nice.
Nice.
You can randomize it. You can upload your own. I've actually gone ahead and made one for the wheel. Uh, it
Nice.
is dope as hell.
So let me ask you, Knox, what exactly do you want us to help you with lore building on here?
At this point, uh,
Okay, hold on. Before I'm sorry, I got to interrupt. Zoom back in. Over on the peninsula to the left, Breester Balls. Breester Balls. I'm sorry, all I'm
okay,
going to hear is Breaston Balls.
yeah. So let's wait. Come on, you can. No, sorry, I gotta click the town. Edit bird.
To the
Well,
There
internet,
it is.
to the internet, always understand that we are, is going to be one of those, oh my God, if it was still breast and balls, it.
Yeah,
so
we're just gonna go. We're just gonna go ahead. And I think this is kind of where I'm at. Uh, is like assisting with uh assisting with it's changing a lot of these names.
right,
Uh,
right. So I was just going to ask because it's something that I typically do is that I try to associate a different race with basically a nationality or else ethnic group. You know, like for my dwarves, then they are more Scottish, and then kind of like German esque. Elves are more French, and then a little bit of British posh, and sometimes Cockney, and then tieflings are just Cajun.
I,
So,
in Lost Seas, I did something that will be brought up dealing in Holy Winds. Is that outside of the elves, all the high elves sound Australian.
Yeah, I remember you saying this, but for Knox, what kind of region is just a loss?
Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit and look at the geography.
All right.
So we're coastal.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's now the protectorate of something.
And happens when you edit stuff. Let's do.
So I'm looking at this. I'm
God, I just saw that. Go on, sorry.
I am looking at this, and I'm gonna assume because I mean you can do geography on this thing too.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm assuming that Los is low in elevation. Like it is.
Hmm.
We
This
this is a small
this
country
will
with this is a
this will
small
actually tell you.
it's a small
So
country with a large coastline.
so Oppenbrew is 29 feet above sea level.
All right,
Oh,
Uh,
so
all right.
that is Monroe. That is literally Monroe. Height elevation wise, I'm sure that the crime rate in Opal Brow is not as bad as where I live.
I mean, yeah. Uh, so it is. It is. Is it still there? Yes. Okay, good. Because this is. I realize this is the screen that I have to change names for the states to change them, uh, so that they'll show up, so that it'll actually show up like in the cities and stuff like that. But
Right,
never mind.
right.
So never mind because it won't. But that's kind of where everything will stick.
Okay.
So
Let's see. Lore. It is in fact a protectorate.
And then what is a protectorate for somebody that doesn't know what that is?
a protectorate means that it okay, so it has a couple different meanings. In the case of the United States, a protectorate is one of the other names we give our own territories because we don't want to say colony in the United States. That's a dirty word. But a protectorate can also be a unofficial or not fully acknowledged government that is more controlled by a military than by a uh, like a noble. If I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass,
Okay.
let me use the power of the internet that is in my
Same,
hands.
because I trust you as that the resident educator. I just want to double check.
A state that is controlled and protected by another is another part of this. Or the position or a period of office of protector. So they will have an executive
Right.
that is known as the protector. So they could be subject to another country's rule, or they have someone that is not a noble that is protecting it. So which one of these Knox sounds better to you? To have that they are a protectorate of another country, or that they are why did it change to lore? I kind of like lore though.
Yeah, Laura is a good name.
Yeah, we'll keep lore.
Okay, so here, so let's do okay. Um, options,
So
options.
so I'm
So it could have a protector, it could have a lord protector or protector general, and it could be a independent nation that just doesn't have nobility, that has more of a military, or based on shading scheme from the map, it could be a protectorate of the empire that's not officially claimed, but the empire's military is there.
I think we're gonna. I think what's gonna. No, I'm gonna. The way I'm gonna keep it is it's gonna be Laura's. Laura's going to be is a protectorate because it is a non-noble
Hmm.
non-noble culture. It is. It cut. It has. I'm assuming. What I'm looking at here is I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it once being uh at least this section uh was at one point under the kingdom was a part of the kingdom of Ventia. that then essentially broke away and gained its independence, and then essentially decided to say "fuck all you guys" and expand out uh, into the frontier as far as they possibly could to essentially shore up their claim by essentially taking up as much coastal real estate as possible.
Okay.
So
Can I suggest a name?
yeah.
I'm going to say Protector General is the title. So that there's kind of that militaristic lean. So Protector General, Tarek Smoke, or a better last name can become. I like the name Tarek.
Let's see.
Yeah, and then I
We'll
was
have to.
just thinking about that too. Whenever then you were talking about the kingdom of Ventia, and then I was just thinking then that they could either be a protector of them, or else then that they had broke off and succeeded, and basically joined up with just the empire. So then that the empire is protecting them. I like that.
Now, if you could edit the map, I would get rid of that little bit of pink, that little nipple off of the Castian Empire that they control. I don't feel like that would be the most advantageous position for them to hold.
I would
Correct.
correct. I
Uh,
would go on.
I am unsure. I'm still unsure on how to. I haven't played around enough with the controls in order to change some of them, to change borders and colors and stuff like that. I need to do that. Um, so that I can do that.
Okay.
Uh,
So we got Protector General, or is that a good title, or do you want to go with Lord Protector?
I think coming off of this, it is going to be Lord Protector. Let's see if I can. There.
So that your overall goal is to try to get some good town names that are easy to pronounce, but then that they aren't basic,
Well,
as like that the town of Server.
before we do that, so now we got it's a protectorate with Lord Protector. Like I said, I like the name Tarek. Last name I don't care. Um, let's figure out, looking at the geography, what type of culture we could come up with, because here's the deal. If it's low elevation and it used to be part of another nation, I'm getting a little bit of a Dutch vibe. Low elevation used to be part of another country, now has not quite a nobility.
Yeah, and more. I would. What was that name again?
Tarek Smoke is what I threw out there. I think we can come up with a better last name.
I like smoke. Put that down. Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm thinking potentially that that Germanic.
Well,
Uh,
if we're going with the fantasy world and stuff here, who's going to be mostly in the swamps? Oh my god, you got nothing but grungs, my dude.
uh,
Ex grung, give it to you.
X.
Um,
This is a and
Spence, I created a shop they had to deal with. It was called Ex grung, give it to you.
and me and Kyle legitimately, I will randomly just look at him and go X Grunk, give it to you, like 6 or 7 times a day. Um. I'm going to say this is going as far as the. I think it's going to be more of a dwarven. Uh,
Okay,
more of a dwarven culture.
if we do dwarven, that gives us access to a lot more guttural, short, choppy names.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I think that
Um,
works.
because it to me it makes sense. You piss off the dwarves. They'll
You pissed
you
off.
piss off and you piss off and you piss off and segregate dwarves, especially. I'm thinking that these were more forest dwelling and coastal, so shipwrights, uh, things of that nature. So you piss those dwarves off, so they just basically tear away from you and then start expanding, and then essentially monopolize the entire as much of the coast as possible, so that you can't fuck with them.
I would say just for fun, mix in some turtles.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Uh,
yeah, it's
but
going to be as far as predominant races. It's going to be very much. We're not going to do what they try to do to us. So they're going to be a much more open and welcoming racially. So you'll have kobolds and swamp halflings and like picture
swamp
like the
moss.
traditional.
I think that we should call swamp halflings moss feet.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's get this down. If are you writing this down or are you just spitballing it?
Yes.
So we got a
Uh,
population of dwarves. We got swamp halflings, turtles, kobolds, gobos, and the likes. You have just created. It's like we have just broken a stereotype that the dwarves here are like not accepting of others. I think it's more of they would not accept you if you don't prove your worth.
Right.
Correct. It's very much if I'm gonna use one of those words, one of those hot button words. It's a very socialist society where essentially are you helping?
I'm ringing a bell here. I'm ringing the bell for them to get you, you communist.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
They'll have to arrest me too, because was it?
Yeah,
I lean further in that direction, I think, than you, and
yeah.
I don't even really lean that direction.
Uh,
So, which city are you having to basically
Let's.
be
nah,
the
it's not.
capital?
I
We're gonna
think
go.
Opalbrow's the capital because it's got the biggest name.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
it's already yeah. That's essentially what it is. It's already set.
Okay.
Uh, should
The
we?
dwarves more primary races. We'll stick with the four primary races of the area. Are going to be the dwarves, the mossfoot halflings, turtles, and goblinoids. Yeah,
Okay. That makes sense.
I just want.
swamp goblins.
I just want a fucking Cajun bugbear.
Oh yeah.
I want a
Uh,
bugbear.
Yeah.
I want a bugbear on a motherfucking Piro.
oh, that's what the halflings. I'm literally picturing the halflings as like the traditional Cajun like
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
trousers trousers with suspenders, no shoes, straw hats.
They totally came from somewhere else though. Just pull that little bit of Cajun history.
Oh, it will. I'll figure that out as well. Um,
Oh, wait, what about this one, Kyle? Uh, the halflings that are down here, they actually left from the marshes up north centuries ago. So like they super don't trust the undead.
that yeah, I like that.
Okay. Here we go.
And the
Here we go.
reason
The
I said
Cajun general.
the reason I say that is also uh I will say this: when you take the whole state of Louisiana, most of Louisiana isn't actually superstitious. Most of the people I met that are superstitious are Cajuns, and I will put it as they have a fucking right to be, and they know shit. Like you're not
The
superstitious.
closer to the closer to the swamps and the marshes that you get, the more superstitious you get. The more superstitious you'll find people, and that is legit.
So,
That's also
That comes a lot from that actually comes a lot from, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize, especially down here. Um, And for those who don't know, I live in about or around Lafayette, Louisiana, which is right in the middle of the state. We got two major interstates, 49 and 10. Find where they meet. That's where I live. Everyone always, when it comes to Cajun culture, everyone usually jumps directly to French primarily and Spanish secondary.
Spanish is more Creole, though, isn't it?
It is, but the influences are still there. However, the more west you go, you start that Spanish starts to drop off. You get more German.
I like that
Well,
because I was
And
going.
there are a lot of German settlements in this area.
That dates back. It's when Spain controlled the area. A lot of Germans immigrated, and that's why you got like Shinerbach and stuff in Texas, because
Yeah.
there's southeast Texas from like just over the border to about Lake Charles. Like the historical ethnic makeup changes in the state.
Now, they're one of the what's the name of the town? It's north of Crowley. There is it's the town is primary and still to this day primarily German families, German ancestry. I want to say I keep popping up with Donaldsonville. It's not Donaldsonville. And it's gonna bug me.
We will. It will come to you later.
It will. Uh, all right. So Mosswood halflings.
Migrated from the marshes.
That's
Don't
the word I was looking for. Migrate.
don't trust.
All right,
Put migrate in quotation marks, because I mean that might be the right version of the textbook that is published later. That far right version of the textbook might say they migrated. Kind of like
yeah.
the Cajuns migrated to Louisiana from
Yeah.
Canada. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
they totally did that.
Yep. That's what we're gonna call it. Well, it's true. They did migrate after they were forcibly removed.
And
Um.
so, oh my God, I kind of want Cajun halflings, but now I kind of want you to be going through a swamp, and all of a sudden a Piro pulls up. Guten Abend, bitches.
Oh no, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be that more Cajun melting pot where you're traipsing through the woods, and there's a halfling and two halflings and a Piro in a small dugout canoe
Ewan from Shreveport.
go up next to you and just stare at you and just, hey ball, hey ball,
Now,
hey ball.
one of the phrases I had to learn because of doing the Dresden game is the meaning of go to bed and Fey Doodoo, because I started laughing every time I heard Fey Doodoo.
Yeah, do you mean Fey Dodo?
Yeah, I know how it should be pronounced, but my brain will never not say Fey Doodoo.
I spent a good portion of my formative years being told to go dodo. I mean, go take a nap,
Go to bed.
go to bed, go dodo.
So,
Yeah, and I'll end
okay.
adjust. They would definitely end up adjusting some more of these names to reflect that stuff. Turtles, obviously more native to this low lying
You know what?
swampy area.
I would say throw grung in there too, and the sporadic Yuan-Ti, just because we know how amphibians and reptiles love our neck of the woods, and this is built that way.
Yeah,
But then again,
turtles, grung.
maybe not the Yuan-Ti, because
I don't know.
Yuan-Ti
This
are
could be.
Yuan-Ti are kind of assholes.
Yeah. And I mean, they absolutely can be. They are a very superior, self-superior race, if you will. So, dope.
Keep them around if you want body horror in a game.
I mean, that is I have used them extensively because I have a bunch of models. I am 100% that DM that will tailor encounters based off of the minis that I have access to.
I've done that. Do we want to, if we're going to work on names, do we want to start in the northwest corner? Over there where something starts with a Z? Zeggies.
All right.
That is definitely a dwarven town, my man.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Trying to get it to, because it's still saying protector to ball.
I don't think it's going to change just yet, man.
Yeah,
well. Okay, does Zeggies sound good? Hey, this one's 51 feet above sea level. It's Rustin.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher. Of a cliff coastal kind of situation.
I don't think it's even cliff coastal. It's just 51 feet is bluffs. It's like Milan in Italy.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I really love about this. It gives you little detail like the elevation and the temperate climate, and it gives you real world examples of what the climate would be like.
So, okay, if it's like Milan, we're getting a bit of a Mediterranean on this edge. Okay, what would be a good dwarven name? Like a solid, like, because for me, dwarven, like a lot of people do Scottish, and that makes sense. A lot of people look at German. I mean, I'll be honest, like the last time I played a dwarf was 2 years ago in Spence's Dark Souls gaming. The Inlerstone sounded like this the entire time. So I went Eastern European with him, like,
Man, that's gonna be more the
in mother lore.
That's gonna end up being more the marches simply because of the stereotypic Eastern European vampire counts and lords and stuff like that.
Your vampire lord needs his borscht, blood borscht. Coagulate. Aurea. That actually, I like that. What about you, Spence? Aurea.
It's a good name.
Nice. Smaller population, smaller town.
You know what? I would say, and this might be more than we want to do at this point, with the population 873, Aurea might be a trade town that exists at the border, mostly when the trade season comes in.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like there's 873 people there normally. Or sorry, 873 people there when it's in season, but it might go down kind of like a Ren Fair. Like there's always like a couple people who still stay there and do stuff there because they maintain the property. But it's like the majority of the year it does not do much. Or it could be a factory town.
That's what I'm thinking with the name being as dwarvish, more of a dwarvish base. Having a name like Aurea, that sounds like potentially a
strip mine. Because it's not high enough in elevation to really have a mine.
Yeah.
It has rich surface copper deposits.
Copper mining town. Yeah. Town. Copper mining town. Specialized smithing.
what if one reason they're able to pull away from
Copper
the
smithing.
kingdom is like they actually figured out how batteries work. Like not like full on like they have rail guns and shit and futuristic technology, but
But arcane technology.
well, not even
Arcane,
dude. I wouldn't even
well, no,
say arcane. Like they figured out how to make energy cells, batteries, and like they plug them into their weapons, and like so you have a completely mundane weapon that's dealing electric damage. So if someone does dispel magic, it doesn't fuck with it. Like maybe the kingdom has a bunch of wizards, and they're like, "Oh, these dudes got lightning swords." Oh fuck! You could even
Copper Mining Towns.
use this even to bring.
Copper
You could even use this to bring in like lightning blades, so you could bring in like a pseudo lightsaber.
Pseudo arcane batteries. Yes, copper mining town with copper smithing and copper specializing in. I don't need an X. Z-I-N-G. Oh yeah, copper mining town specializing in coppersmithing and pseudo arcane batteries. I think we'll go with that because it's a situation of the batteries would be the batteries could be arcanely charged.
Well, I think you'd have
But
to have magic to capture the lightning to do it. Like
yeah,
magic's in the process of making them, but they themselves are not magic.
correct. And essentially, it's not batteries.
Huh?
Not batteries.
It's not
It's not
batteries.
batteries. It's ammunition. It's literally like lightning shotgun shells.
I like that. I still think you should try to do the lightning saber though. That sounds dope too. Spence, what do you got to make this better? We got lightning shotgun shells.
Let's see here. If it's lightning shotgun shells, then you know that you can't have thunder and lightning. I mean, that you can't have thunder without lightning. So, what about basically like thunder grenades that basically push people back?
This is how they got their independence. They literally grabbed the lightning and the thunder.
Hmm.
And it's something that mages couldn't fuck with when like it went down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of getting vibes of like why the Jedi didn't fuck with the Mandalorians, because the Mandalorians like, oh, you can deflect lightning blast or you can deflect laser blasts with your sword.
Cool. Here's a bullet.
Fucking eat lead, space wizard. So it's like, yeah, you block this bullet with your plasma blade, and all you've done is now create millions
2
of
bullets.
all you've done is create millions of tiny superheated metal shards, because your laser sword is not hot enough to vaporize it. So now you are just pelted with burning sand, the heat of the sun. I'm getting those kind of vibes from these guys.
That sounds good to me. And I am
And Spence, thunder grenades, like they got shot, or they got, they made the flashbangs, right?
Yeah,
Or would it be better, Spence, with what you're saying? Does is it more of a flashbang, or is it more of the thunder is so loud it ruptures an eardrum, leaving people discombobulated?
I would say probably it can be like leaving people discombobulating and also pushing them back a little bit too. Kind of like a rolling thunder in a sense.
That would be a really good name for the grenades.
Rolling Thunders. Yeah.
Or that could be the name of the military.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, beware, Rolling Thunder is coming through. While we're looking at this, there's a city name Nox in a country we're not working on, so don't change it now. But Confluencicum.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna need to fix that with your group because conflict come is gonna be what that becomes.
Yeah. And they'll probably end up taking it over because why not?
Okay,
All
so
right.
do we have more town? Is it just these towns, or are there a bunch? If we zoom in, is there going to be like a billion more?
No, I believe this is it.
Okay, so we got Oria, and then we got Hoberheimen.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
If you take the en off of it, Hoberheim works.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Ooh,
right,
and the sigil works.
this still goes with the lightning vibe. All right,
Yeah.
since we've thrown some stuff out, 13 feet above sea level. This place is low. It's a port. Spence, what's the main thing that Hoberheim does?
Uh, let's see. I could say that they can be kind of like a steel port because steel conducts electricity, and in that enable for that the people of basically Oria to basically be able to control lightning and thunder, that you will need a way to contain it. So then that their main trade has to be some kind of steel work, kind of like a smith. It can be like a smithy town or something like that.
I like that. So we got a big steel port.
Yeah. So Steelport.
Maybe also have it be the Western Naval Base. Actually, hold on.
Steelport
You know,
Patrol.
would they actually? If they have such a coastline, they have to have a navy. What if their big naval weapon are submarines that basically electrify the water around themselves? Super bad for the environment, but I don't know if these folks are super concerned about that.
I wouldn't go submarine. For me, I am thinking more like then that they got like then that they more got these beacons surrounding them, so that you think that this is basically like a like a deep like a defenseless town. But whenever like enemies say that they come about within about 100 miles or so before the city, and then that they can basically just like hit a switch, and then that all of those underwater beacons just turn up into like basically it is electrifying the water immediately up in that area.
Possible test. Hey, LeBlanc just mentioned something online. What if this area is also rich in salt, because you do need sodium for a lot of these things? I mean, think about like the area down around New Iberia used to have a lot of salt mines.
Well, they still do.
I didn't know how active the salt mining industry still was.
It is like the cargo mine. The cargo mine is fucking huge. I know a couple of guys that had to go that have gone down there working in cable. It's deep.
So it's a steel town, and also we got salt mines throughout the area. I like the idea of like maybe, what if it's not just like a series of them? What if like they have like a lighthouse that's just a Tesla coil?
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is that is like the beacons that Spence was mentioned, instead of electrifying the water. Let's say they're out 100 feet, 100, 200, or 100, 200 yards off the coast. And what if instead of electrifying the water, they rotate opposed to they just rotate opposed to the current. So they can literally in the event of an attack, they can literally turn off the tide.
Or else then that they could like, or else that they could like control the tide
Or
to
to
basically
becalm the water.
right, and then that they can basically make their own tidal waves in a sense using just that harness thunder basically, and then that they can make it like electrified waves or something. That they just charge it up and then it's just like an electrified tidal wave that would just wash on the enemy and shock them.
I like this.
So
Also, this would be a good thing in a campaign to where somebody is trying to reverse it on the city, and you gotta stop them, or else this person is gonna like try to tidal wave the city off the map.
yeah. So this is the major western port. Uh, heavy steel production. Heavy steel production, industrial.
Salt mines.
I'm gonna hold on to that. I think we're gonna do that in
Rasberg would be good.
curtain. I think we're gonna do more Haunterbend. Well, first of all, let's see how
Hutton Hobern.
Haunterbend.
Hottabin, what vibe are you trying to go for with this town?
This is a much bigger town based on population.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that this is going to be the salt. The salt mining town, and there are
that works.
And and the salt mining is massive. And I actually like Haunter Bend.
How is it actually supposed to be pronounced?
Huniterben.
Huniterben.
Seinbach.
That I like. That one sounds mean and harsh.
And also did kind of salt connotations. Sign.
And how is it supposed to be pronounced? Play the pronunciation.
Seinbach.
Seinbach.
Ooh, you can have you can have an oligarchic style family named the Sin.
This is true.
I like that or there can be a syndicate. Ba-bum-bumch.
I'm not getting mafia vibes. I mean, if anything, then that it can basically be like, because Bach is always making me think of like like music based. So maybe that that this is like a family of bars that have basically got super lucrative up into like the salt mining business, and then that they are basically just adding more salt to the wounds of their salty fans, and basically have made a name for themselves with this salt mine business to basically supply to the Navy.
They have their own branch of metal known as salt metal.
Ooh. Salt metal. I'm putting that down because that sounds interesting as hell.
I was talking about music, but now I want to know what salt metal mail is like.
I mean, you can also take some inspiration from science too. I mean that because whenever that you put pure sodium in water, it explodes.
Sodium bombs to send to the Navy to launch at enemy ships.
I mean, this would be where the once again just like we had done with Hoberheim. They said they send all that material over to Aurea to develop and make these weapons.
All right. I think that's good. Let's look at Rasberg. I like Rasberg.
So where does it basically start to go more swampy yet more south or to the
I think
to the
over
east?
here. I think Rasberg's this slightly gray, dingy area is I think where it would start to shift. What's Rasberg's elevation?
Let's see. Rasberg is 29 feet above sea level.
I think that I like Rasberg's little symbol.
Mm-hmm.
1585. What if Rasberg is a smaller salt mining town?
Okay.
Like a hamlet.
It's well, I mean, like it makes sense that the salt extends through the area because there's a whole vein of it, right?
Yeah.
Rasberg is a smaller one that has just managed to stay out of the Seenbach.
Or it's a different kind of salt. I think
What about it? What if this one's the edible type of salt instead of more of a chemical salt?
And then
I think what just kind of popped in my head is live salt. It's it's more of a, like the mines in Steinbeck are old salt deposits, like the salt mine in New Iberia. Rasberg is more of a the deposits are more like they're cultivating their salt, but with seawater in opened salt domes. They'll basically open the salt dome has essentially been mined open, so that it's a giant pit full of salt, and that's what they use to solar dry ocean salt, which gives it a different chemical composition, and that's what its trade is in, and that's primarily more culinary based.
You know what?
yeah,
I think keep the name Rosberg, but we need to have some NPC from here, like a famous chef. Like maybe this is like a special color salt too.
what about like
Yeah,
but what about like we could go either black or pink salt, and then I was thinking like that it can be like a turtle that is based on like like emerald, or somebody or
No,
else
no, no, no,
some
no, no,
big
no.
southern chef.
There was a gentleman that was on PBS for years that taught my papa how to cook, and I watched it with him all the time.
Justin Wilson.
So what if we have a chef from here named Wilson that is a turtle that uses a black salt?
That
Yeah,
could work.
Also, I'm going to say maybe there's a special type of mushroom from here too. We're starting to get into
that
bog.
grows on that grows on the salt deposits.
Yes, that. I
Uh,
gotta go pee. Spence, you're much better at names. Come up with a fancy salt mushroom, please.
okay, let's see. Uh, no, that's two on the nose. Sea
Uh,
catnip. That is funny. Sea catnip is funny, but no.
uh, something else is cool. You can also the cooking and the mushroom the that mushroom can also be used. It can also be processed down into textiles.
That I am trying to use one of my generators, and in that it says bitter salt. That's the first salt that came up with, but I saw something other that had came up good. Like, let's see. Uh,
The it could it be the mu- the mu- the mu- we could use bitter salt for the mushroom and do bitter salt mushrooms.
yeah, bitter salt mushrooms,
Yeah, let's do that. That's good.
because then they got like other things that are coming up, like that was the only salt that came up,
I
and
like
base
I like live salt because it's
yeah,
more of especially with it also being used for the cultivation of the bitter salt mushroom. It brings it, and it's the and that might be what makes the salt so what's the makes the salt so makes the salt live salt is that it's the salt itself is impregnated with the mycelium.
right. And then what if that they had a root or something that they cultivated that's rare here, called Thunder Root. You know, it's basically toned down, but it basically gives you the rumblies.
All right, I'm back.
Uh,
I
we
heard
have
I heard something about live salt and a root.
yeah, we're on the. I think we've come up with what live salt is. It's because of the mushroom. The mushroom is called bitter salt. It is called the bitter salt mushroom, and the reason that live salt is so different is because it's being cultivated, because the mushrooms are being cultivated in the salt, in the same salt drying
Oh,
areas for the live salt. And it's actually the salt crystals themselves are actually essentially impregnated by the mycelium, and that's what makes it live salt, because technically the mycelium's in it, so it's living.
and then that they
I
can
like that.
then that they can also use this bitter salt mushroom inside of a mushroom puree that has some storm vanilla bean in it too, that Wilson created or something like that for like a sweet savory dish or something.
All right,
What do we name? Would we name the turtle NPC?
Wilson,
What about a first name?
uh,
It sound for a second. It sounded like you called him Step Wilson, and I kind of like that.
huh.
uh, well, I don't have the names generated,
But no,
but I did have the Cajun name one. I don't know where I put
Let's
it.
see. I like Step Wilson. Well, that's gonna
what? But if it was like
no,
STEHP,
uh, or follow me here. It's a little on the nose. Uh,
What about Emmerich Wilson?
Tarpon Wilson.
I like that.
I like that.
Tarp to his friends.
Tarpon Wilson. There we go.
All right,
All right.
I think that's Rasberg in just a couple
Mm-hmm.
notes.
Yeah.
Let's keep going down the coast. I think instead of going inland.
Yeah,
Uh, Shogunjin.
that
No,
is
no.
100.
No.
We're hitting the
Okay,
button on the nose.
I like this. Look at the logo. I'm getting fishing vibes.
Yeah.
Onion.
Yeah.
Oh, 34,234 people. Um, we might have just found our New Orleans.
Well, let's yeah, because that's not a port.
Oh, you got rid.
Not a
Oh, okay.
port.
That one's pretty good.
That one is not a port. Okay.
Oh, that one's got crawfish.
Oh, I'm damn.
I like.
Yep.
Let's go with this one. But let's change the name.
Yeah.
Altnu. Oh, no.
Let's go to Compock.
Let's see. Let's.
Hold on. We gotta stick with your. How
Oh,
how about one of the things I do is I'll remove letters from
Yeah.
words so it's more of the guttural sound, kind of like in conch. There's Newton that just means or Truton, true town. That is the true part of
Yeah.
conch. Ebron is just too much of a campaign setting.
Ebron.
yeah. Ebron. No, it's just people just say Ebron.
What about Ulysses?
I say Compach. Compach.
But the only reason I'm saying this is a Nox is because
Yeah.
he knows how to spell
Yeah.
Ulysses.
Uh. Is it?
I mean, it's Ulysses, but
Yeah.
hold on. Well, let's do it phonetically. Let's do Ulysses phonetically.
Mm,
You know what? Let's change it. It doesn't because that just looks like a rental sign.
It really does. All right, let's see what else.
Not March. Mm-mm.
How will it
Hi
be?
Mondstadt.
I don't
Huh?
that. I don't like that
Mm-mm.
one.
I don't like that.
I feel like this for a city this big.
Eder.
Edder's short and sweet.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna say that they fish a special type of sturgeon. Where they put its scales on it. It's that bright, vibrant red when you cook it, kind of like you can't scale this fucking sturgeon. You have to cook it, and that causes the carapace and scaling on it to become
Okay.
more brittle.
Okay. What if it's legitimate and taken straight out of fucking One Piece? What if it's fucking sea kings,
The giant ass fish.
giant ass basically giant ass sea monsters. The scales are in that red and yellow pattern, and they can be used for armor.
What I'm saying is you got to cook them first. Get that kind of
Yeah,
crawfish vibe. Like you literally can't pry these off the fuckers.
yeah. You have to cook it. You literally have to cook the fish and then remove the meat for you. You don't take you
And
don't
crack it.
scale the fish.
You
You don't
crack it
scale
open.
crack it, and you have to take the meat off of the scales before they can be processed.
I like it,
So,
but let's come up with a better name than Sea King.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
mean that it could basically be like with just that the bitter salt mushrooms that they could have that this one dish that could be the fire roasted onions and bitter salt mushrooms sea dowels, basically like a crocodile that they use for armor or maybe something like that.
Well, hold on. Rasberg has the salt. We'll have another city, I think, Spence, that we're like they're the ones that do all the culinary shit. Like,
Right, but
New Orleans.
okay, so here's the
But
thing
you gotta
is,
have the signature dish if that this is gonna be like a New Orleans type thing, something that they're known for.
okay, Ettenmander. Ettenmander for the name of the Sea King thing.
Ooh.
But Monder,
Okay.
spell it more like Monder, like Yodermonder.
Ettenmander. The I'll just go serpents for the moment. That may change.
But the big thing is that they hunt those. And you know what? I think there's some industry down here too. I think that they process a special type of wood. Like they cut down some of the cypress in the area. Maybe no, that might be another place a little bit further away. But I feel there's got to be
I mean,
something.
given that this population, I mean, it just seems like that it's to be a big marketplace, especially with it being so close to the coast.
It is, but we also have a major seaport, like maybe a day away by boat.
I mean, that why not have two major seaports?
What?
You
No,
know that's the military one. That this could be the touristy one.
Yeah,
valid.
I'm thinking. Well, let's.
What if this also used to be part of a pirate kingdom? Bring in a little bit more of that New Orleans lore.
Well, it looks the way that it's shaped with these two peninsulas coming off of the empire. It could very that's and this is the white the white one is literally the trade route, the white
That
line here.
that makes sense. Okay, I wasn't looking at that.
So that would be the main port into the main port from the west into Lore. So I need to change. Where is it? Major western port. Major. Okay, so Haberheim is going to go to a to the major military western port, and Eder is going to be the main port.
At the civilian port.
Well,
Right.
just for
Trade
trade people, everything.
General
And
use.
the Hoberheim port is specifically for Lorian military.
Okay, I think the most northwestern province is like 90% a military encampment. Because
Well,
they do
you've
have
got
they do have the empire to the west.
they do. So that is the
And since this is a more socialistic society, that's where the copper deposits are.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's really cool.
All right. Is that enough for Eder?
I think so. I think that's enough to do with.
All right. Breester.
Breester. I think Breester is going to be that.
That's a lot of people still, though.
It is.
You know what Breester is? Breester's the rice basket. Like Breester is a town or a city, and put that in quotation marks. But really, Breester's area takes up like almost that entire area. Breester's like just the main place that the rice comes in.
Sounds good to me.
Or should we rename Breester?
No, I like it.
Breester.
All right.
I
Now,
mean, Eder and Breester, that they have a certain nice ring to them.
Now the ones below them probably need new names.
Yeah, that they need new names for sure.
Especially Paxalach.
Yeah.
No, I'm now looking at cum things. Like, what?
Yeah.
Eamthans. All right, let's. Okay, so I think Breester being the rice basket might be all we need for it right now, right?
Yeah. That's
Right.
pretty. I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
All right,
now let's go to
Eamthans.
this guy, and let's see what it says.
18 things.
No,
No.
I don't like that.
Also, hold on. Let's figure out this one's name, Nox, by clicking the changing the random heraldry to something we like.
Okay.
Hmm.
That they could have like some racing of just some displacer beast type animals or something.
We're dealing with a population of 1,800 people. I think. How about hear me out here for the next two cities? If Breester is like the big rice place, I feel like we get kind of into agricultural down in this region.
I think this is going. I think we're going to stick with this one.
With the
I
doggo.
I think this is going to be hunting. It's already there.
Yeah.
Already fucking there.
Yeah. Okay. So.
It's marshland.
Would this be a city that would be mostly goblinoid and koboldy?
Yeah, and some goblin. Well, I don't. I think I'm gonna keep. I don't think I'm gonna do the kobolds down in this area. I think I'm gonna save them for another area and have it more of a one of the places is gonna be more kobold centric.
So
goblinoid
and halfling.
Goblinoid and halfling.
Swamp halfling.
All right,
Okay.
so let's do.
Oh, now we're gonna get those adorable half goblin, half halfling babies. They got the fuzzy feet and the big old ears.
What's that one? Let's hear that one.
That's it. Doesn't matter what this says in my house at my table. That is going to be schlong.
Oh, no, good point.
We can't do that one. No, too long.
No.
So Hunting Village needs a short name.
Yeah.
Hawk.
Compact.
Beesh.
Nah,
Yeah.
they are just
No,
gonna
no,
just
no.
keep on calling that town bitch.
Yeah, 100%.
Damn it.
Kong Pot.
Bish.
Yeah.
Oh, do it again. Do it again.
Bish.
It's Bish.
Which is slang for bitch on the internet in Europe because there's apparently a cookie named Bish. It's like, I got you something, Bish.
Loch. Loch.
Loch.
Lock.
Loch.
Loch.
Loch. I like that one. It's short and sweet.
I like it too.
We'll copy that one and see what else we got.
No.
Edinburgh is too fancy.
Too
for that.
city making.
No, too long. Imberg?
Imberg.
I'm sorry, Berg needs more than like 1,800 people in it, I think.
Something named Emberg. I'm feeling that's going to be more of a
Save that name. Save that name because that'd be a good name for a bigger city.
Yeah. That's okay.
I'm just gonna say this right now, guys. I'm having a hoot.
I'm enjoying the shit out of this. I would 100%. Let me open up another notepad.
Hell, this would be good for a
city names.
This would be something fun to do on toolkits.
Yeah. I have. I mean, this map is fucking huge and super populated with cities. This is amazing.
You know what? Next toolkits. While I'm probably building terrain, why don't you do this, and then we can just spitball ideas for shit.
Yeah. Caping.
Caping. I like that. I like that because that you are basically capturing that these things in a pen. Caping.
Caping might be better for Pex and Oxygen because it's on more of a cape.
Yeah. So I'll take that one too. Although I know for 100% certainty that that's going to end up being Kaplan at my table. Launch.
Wordle. I kind of like Wordle.
Wordle. It sounds rural enough that it could work. Wordle.
Yeah. Okay, Wordle. It was actually a turtle town to begin with, and someone couldn't pronounce turtle.
Or else that could have been like a legend of a turtle that had got some lycanthropy, and then that they just named the town Wordle after that he like destroyed it, and then that these halfling and goblins just rebuilt it, and that they just kept the name for the legend.
You know what? We need to have 1,000 reasons for why this town is named this, and none of them are correct.
Yep, but I just got an idea. Wordle, rural, village, hunting.
This is an area I feel that has a lot of P-rows and crawfish traps as well.
Logging, marshy area. All right, and we're speeding through that one because I just got a really good idea for this one.
For Pexaholland. Oh,
for Pexaholland.
Oh, that's a lot more people.
6,000.
It's 6 times bigger than Wordle. Wordle is a stopping point to Pexaholland, but we got to come up with like Pexa would be a good name for this if we just leave the rest of it.
Number one, I dropped it down to 1,400 for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Number two, we're gonna see what he says.
Hexalacrin.
Pexa. I just like Pexa, to be honest.
Hexalacrin.
Pexalacrin.
That's a mouthful, but it kind of works shorten the Pexa to me. But I like the name.
I'm going to put that over here on this page.
To save for another city.
For potentially a character name.
Pexalacrin. What about Exall?
I mean that if that they got the industry that this could just be like a little small hamlet that basically that like that they live at after like a hard day's work and stuff.
Well,
Because some people travel in and stuff.
Lornachrin.
that one sounds like medicine, Knox.
It does. Let's see. No.
Malsh.
I kind of
Malsh.
like Malsh.
I do as well. So it's going to stay as Malsh. Malsh is Malsh is special.
What is your idea about Malsh?
So
Let's see this. Let's see that they got crawfish, a blue circle, some kind of bird, and some kind of diamond with a circle in it. It is giving me base.
I hold on to that thought for something else because I have an idea for this one.
All right.
I don't have the stream up. Is LeBlanc still around?
Yo,
LeBlanc, are you in?
Ulrich, Mr. Hold on, Mr. Zane. Mr. Zane, are you still here? Mr. Zane. Mr. Zane.
I don't think. Let me see right quick.
I will text you, Mr. Zane.
And if not, it's not as cool. It's just he is going to be I think out of everyone here, he's going to be the first one to get the reference.
He is still watching, but then he just may be lurking.
That's fine.
I sent him a text saying we need you on stream.
So yeah. And while we give him a second to get on, if he's gonna get on, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. I think this would be an amazing reoccurring thing, especially if we get more people on.
We need canon in this.
We need canon in this, and I also have another idea, which we'll kind of back up for a second, and so that we can. All right. So I am going to give both of you homework.
Fuck.
Okay.
For the next time we for the next time we do this, I'm giving Spence Tindasa. I am giving Hewitt the Akasan Empire.
Oh, you made a mistake. Everything's gonna be named Jimothy and John Dre.
I mean, I just want I and nothing super fancy. Just
zoom back out so I can spell this thing. Thank you. Wait, do I have ham?
No, you do not.
Fuck.
Oh wait, I think you may actually do. You do have ham.
Do I have ham?
No, because ham is the ham is a ham is if you want to get technical about it.
I kind of have ham.
Spence has ham.
Fun fact. Here in the what's this one? The kingdom of I'm gonna change the name.
Kingdom of Shampoo.
Dunreth is one of my old cities.
Okay, so will I be able to edit stuff on this map directly, Nox?
Probably not. I don't know. We'll kind of figure. We'll kind of.
So what homework do we actually have? You given us kingdoms? Do we got to come up with lore and everything for them?
General lore about that province essentially. I don't need like specific stuff, but like what kind like what kind of person is the person in charge? How do they what type of place is it as far as like for that for the empire or monarchy, and just a little bit a little bit of background just to play with, to get essentially give us somewhere to start for when we get to that province.
Okay.
You know
I'm
what I mean?
already writing shit down.
Uh,
Someone made a mistake and gave me carte blanche.
I mean, I do hold the golden power of veto. I will say
You
that.
do.
However,
However,
Yeah.
here's the thing that makes this school year great for me is this school year I have been given carte blanche on 3 different courses.
nice.
Oh no. One of the kids made a comment and I started laughing and the response is, "Mr. Hall, your laugh doesn't make me feel safe." And my response was, "That is a very good survival instinct." This is also a child that 2 years ago told me my smile did not seem friendly.
I mean,
She is a very smart one.
so so Mausch. Mausch is going to be. I think Mausch is going to be a good starter place for this particular area of the world. Uh, Mausch is essentially Manshak,
Yep. I could buy that. Stilt City type construction.
and it was wiped off of the map, and there's some spooky juju going on.
So
What if
you are
we
thinking like that there is a witch hunt or something going on?
no,
Maybe.
more of Restless Dead and maybe some Revenants?
I would go more of witchy because swamp and witch
Oh,
always goes
oh,
together.
Well,
oh.
if a storm, I mean, I think this whole country got witchy. Like there is Baba Yaga lives here.
I mean, the,
It might be Maman
hush.
Yaga, but
I mean,
ooh, Kyle, NPC Maman Yaga.
we'll see. I got some ideas on. I have some ideas on that thread already, but I will refrain from going into more detail
Ooh.
uh,
I like that, but
for
there's also
possible reasons.
well, the other thing is I'm eventually going to bribe Nox into running a stream of the wheel for us again because I need to play SOG again, and I'm starting to feel SOG comes from this area, even though SOG might not know it.
Potentially, yeah. He could actually be from fucking. Oh, which one was it?
Eder.
Worthall or Worthall. Worthall would be. Worthall is also where I'm doing like the cypress logging and shit like that.
This is true. Then again, I
So
still my favorite thing about SOG is that he will literally just roll up wood shavings and smoke them like a cigar because he can't take damage or get sick from it. Like I feel like he mostly smells like cedar.
and he likes and he thinks he remembers that he likes the smell.
I agree to this. I should just
So
actually send. I should just send a Wikipedia page to you about the uses of cypress logs, and that's something that you end up sending to the other party from SOG.
just random wood facts.
Proper maintenance of a hand plane. I give
You
you
know that.
I give you full permission, Knox, to do this.
Yeah, and like we're in this area. You don't want to use pine in that area. Pine will warp easily because there's a lot of humidity in that area. So I wouldn't use
It's
pine. I would go with more of a hardwood that's
pine.
easy to work. Like Like
Pine.
orange osage.
Pine is too vascular for this use.
Yes.
It will absorb too much water, causing it to warp, swell, and rot. You want to use something that is more acclimated to this climate, such as a cypress or an osage.
Yep. That's that
Actually,
is
no.
beautiful.
It also makes sense if Sog was actually from Marsh, since there's bad juju. That might be one reason he came back as a reborn or an undead.
Yeah.
Is just that intrinsic negative necrotic energy means that they're. Oh, actually, that actually is a good idea. Have Marsh actually have some of the undead that aren't undead. They're more like Sog functions.
Yeah.
As the player character reborn or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
To where it's like, I died, I guess.
I died, but I got I like this is what happened. What happened? I can't remember. The only thing I know is that I died,
Sort of.
and then I went to work.
Sold my soul to the company store. All right, so do we got Malsh? Do we got the peninsula?
2 seconds. I sold my soul to the company store. Cool. Thanks, Hewitt.
Hey, Spence. Spence.
Yeah. Yeah.
As another DM here, I just made a classic mistake, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I did a one-off joke, and now we have a thing.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Thank God Nox isn't running with a wiener joke.
Where is
Sorry, the do right now. Run with a wiener joke.
we just in D&D. We'll do.
Should we move to Hosten Bergenabal?
It's getting on to 10:30. I think we can kind of
Oh
We've got
shit!
the
It is
entire
late.
We've got the entire west coast of lore filled out. And resources. We'll do resources. Resources. That's not spelled correctly, but I don't give a shit.
This also would work for any filler type game we have to do.
Yeah.
We slowly build the lore of Nox's world.
I mean, I am 100% down with this. That's less work that I got to do.
All right, I'm gonna make that map disappear now.
Okay, do that. I'm gonna save all of this stuff. The wheel, world info, lore.
Okay,
Done.
should there be gator kebabs here though?
I mean, there. You mean there
It
wasn't going to be?
or is it more
I
of a
mean
why would there not be?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean that not just gator, but what about the name of that the Sahagin kebabs?
Those are sentient. I feel that. Okay, we're dealing with Cajuns. I was going to say if it's sentient, people might have an issue, but let's be honest.
I honestly would say that if it is in the monster manual, other than the playable races, it should be on the table.
I'm just going to say if Cthulhu emerged from the Gulf,
Cook some rice.
we're going to have the most eldritch fucking boudin and calamari ever. Like, I do not put, like, the reason you will never see Godzilla attack the Gulf is because, one, Floridians, Cajuns, South Alabama, and Mississippians are so damaged that they would eat Godzilla.
Ricky, go cook some rice.
Hold on, we still got a tag. This one falls under it. We still got a tag.
He's green, he's got scales.
You see that mouth? Chomp. We can argue it. What's the governor gonna do? John Bell won't do shit.
John Bell won't do shit.
Hashtag new t-shirt. Not really. But
Uh,
I'm not wrong with that, though.
you're not at all.
Anyway,
This was fun.
I had a hoot with this.
I enjoyed the shit out of this.
Next time we'll just be able to jump in. I got a feeling next time we'll completely knock off lore. You know what, Nox? There is one city you cannot change the name of. I saw it just on the edge of my screen. Aster. You gotta keep Aster. You gotta give them one, dude. You have to give them one.
That'll work.
Because Aster would become Astorn so quick.
Let's see. Click to add. Let's see what this does.
Is Ricky still in the game?
He's supposed to be, but he very seldomly is because he works at the post office.
Oh shit, that's a busy job.
Well.
All right. We did all the socials like 2 hours ago. I don't feel like we gotta do them again.
Right. Just only just do the Twitter one.
Why? That's the one I always fuck up.
If you don't want to do the Twitter, I do the Twitter.
You do the Twitter because I'm going to do it on purpose now, just because. Spite.
Well, then, thank you guys so much for watching at this Team Bonus Action World Building Episode 1. We will be coming back to this relatively soon, that this was all fun and stuff. That you can find us, that you can find all of our social medias on that the link tree, and then that you can basically find us at bonus_team on Twitter. If it is the Hydra, it is us. And since that Nox is here,
we appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. Hope it was entertaining for the least. And until next time, folks, don't let your meatloaf.
Good night, everybody. Thank you. Comment, like, subscribe.